All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are listening to me across the globe. In Nigeria, of course, they picked up the word excellent. But today is not an excellent guy, but it's okay. It's a gracious afternoon. And I would like to say that we will not relax, because the destination to growth and development of our society requires a relentless efforts from every member of the society, and I'm playing my own part by lending my voice to societal issues and reforms. And are you doing the same is what I'm asking you today. Anyways, let me put that aside. You're welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo, and of course it's important for us to hear what on this day industry has for us. Stay with me, let's hear it together, and when I come back, I'll come and give my submission.
On this day in history, 28 November 1925, Southern Africa's the Cape route between the Atlantic and Indian Oceans remains one of the world's most important sea lanes for commercial shipping, and during storm season, one of its most perilous. Today, the British merchant ship Competitor sends an SOS 75 nautical miles, 139 kilometers south.
All right, many thanks for staying with me. I think from on this the initial segment, if you ask me, is about the Cape route between the Atlantic and of course the Indian Oceans that remains one of the world's most important sea lines, or sea lanes, for commercial shipping. And of course during those storm season, one of its important issue that came up is the fact that the water waves is an area Nigeria needs to also pay attention to, especially for development, and also it can also improve trade, improve tourism, business and economic growth. Many a time we pay attention to the oil and gas in Nigeria, but there are many other aspects that can bring development and bring a lot of revenue for us in this country, Nigeria. I think that's my take from on this industry segment. On this note, I think it's important for us to get a message from my sponsors. For those who put me on this platform, let's hear their message, and when I come back, we'll dive straight to the conversation and stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Of course, the topic at hand today is about the power sector, and the Minister of Power, Atanda-Owo, on Tuesday vowed on behalf of the federal government, on behalf of the federal government to achieve 20,000 megawatts of power generation in the next 3 years, although the nation is still struggling to sustain about I think 4,000 megawatt electricity generation. And Atanda-Owo insisted that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration will meet the 20,000 megawatts target by 2026. And of course, the minister also said that he is, determined to make impact. I've diagnosed the issue, at a large extent. I've looked at all the nitty-gritty of all that has been said, and I felt that it's important for me to bring this conversation to forth. And let's find out what, find out the solutions at hand when it comes to the difficulty that we are facing right now in our country, Nigeria. And of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently also stopped the increase in electricity tariff and insisted on the payment of subsidy on power consumption, or power consumed rather, on the nationwide. And he also said that the federal government, would also investigate the legality of the 5-year license extension given to privatized power distribution, and of course the generation companies, stressing that the operation licenses of this firm would have expired on October 31st, 2023. That date is very significant to me because that is my birthday. You know, anyways, putting that aside, on this live show, my discussion today is to aim to dissect the current status of Nigeria's power sector, the highlights of the past, and of course the challenges, and of course the successes, the reforms, stressing the importance of strategy policies, and of course the stakeholder management or engagement thus far till date. So before I delve further, I think it's important for us to check the profile of my guest, and when I come back, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Of course, I have Barrister Chief Sunday Oduntan on the live show today. Many thanks for creating time to be on this show. I know that there are a lot of things happening at your end, you're at an event, but creating time to lend your voice on issues that affect us all, especially when it comes to the power sector, is quite important to all. Many thanks again. Are you there? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me,
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic. I don't know if you can open, can you open your camera so that the viewers can both see us? Are you there?
I see you. Yes, I can. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. So, with all the issues at hand, we are at a crossroads right now, especially when it comes to the president outrightly saying that he doesn't want the tariff of electricity to increase. However, his minister wants to achieve 20,000 megawatts of power generation in the next 3 years. Where will the money come from? In an economy that is, lending with debt and, all sort of inflow generation that is being, revenue that is being, that is struggling at the moment. What's your take thus far with this? Are you there?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What I can say is that the government mean well, and whatever the government decides as a matter of policy, all of us need to show understanding and support them in what they are trying to do. So, talking about the government saying that they would rather bring back or introduce some form of if they say they want to introduce
or they don't want the increase of the tariff to go up. So, and the minister is saying that they would like to achieve that with about 20,000 megawatts of power generation in the next 3 years. So I'm asking, what's your take thus far with all the lending, with all the borrowing, of debt, and of course, of how our revenue is at the moment in this country?
Yes. In terms of where would the money come from, Kike, I think that question is for the government. And I believe that they must have their plan. They must have their strategy for achieving that. As far as we are concerned as operators, what we want to achieve is to deliver effective, reliable power supply to Nigerians. And that is very, very possible. So if the government have a plan on how to address the shortfall, then we should all key into it and just hope that that will be done. The issue of where will the money come from and all those things, those are questions for the government. Government will have their reasons. I would rather you invite the minister or someone from the government side, and I'm sure they have their own plan. What I'm saying is that it has gotten to a point now when all of us have to cooperate with the government. We should look at how best the system can work and what best the government can do. And once the government tells us that this is what they are trying to do, I think we should give them support. That's what I think. Kike.
Oh, that insight right there. The reason why I asked you that question is the fact that for a stakeholder like you, knowing that we both live in this country, how can we keep borrowing and you promising that you would achieve this? And I expect that a stakeholder like you should be able to have an insight to how the nitty-gritty of how this will be carried out, you know, to some extent. But I understand what you've said, but the argument still remains that in a developed clients, you know, they pay quantifiably for power and energy as it meets their demands, you know, and so they are to enjoy constant power supply. I will use myself as an example, you know, or let me use my children for instance. They've never experienced blackouts in the last 15 years. My oldest child is 14 and they've never experienced blackouts, but we pay premium for it. If we also want to get there, should we not be prepared for it in terms of carrying the country along to understand that they must pay for premium to have 24 hours lights?
That's correct. No doubt. Everybody knows that if you get electricity, you should pay for it, which is why we've been campaigning against the huge energy theft in the system. We have a lot of vandalism going on. We have a lot of energy theft. Away from the issue of government policy, the fundamental issue of energy theft is a major issue. And I think that is part of what you people in the media should help us to address. If we can all address the menace of the losses occasioned by energy theft, all the issue of we can have uninterrupted power supply, all this issue of they won't experience a blackout will be solved. So our attention should be on how or why do we situation where 60% of the energy supply are stolen. And we should find a way to address the other problem and the pay meters that are supplied to our customers in this country are bypassed. So let's deal with that. But if we deal with that, I can assure you that even with the little quantum of energy that we currently have, Nigeria will be happy, things will be better. So energy theft is a major problem that I think we need to look at. And that should be the focus of our attention. That's what I think, Kike.
About the focus of our attention right now, let's reflect or reflecting on the past experiences of Bola Ige and Babatunde Raji Fashola. What lessons can we say or can you say Minister Adelabu draw from their tenures in handling the Nigerian power sector so that it doesn't become a culture of we just, you know, beating around the bush?
Okay, I will only advise our Honorable Minister to please continue to be collaborative with all stakeholders in the sector. I will advise our minister to ensure the alignment of the value chain. In other words, as they are dealing with generation, they should deal with transmission, all true. And I believe they will do that. And if we can get this done, then we will all be there. For me, that is the way to go. Getting sectors together, ensuring there's communication across the board, getting people to work together. And that work as stakeholders. Look at getting across the country and ensuring that sector is minimum. Alignment.
Unfortunately, the network is a bit erratic. Let's go on a quick break, and when I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. This is Real Talk with Kike, and of course, I've been talking about the power sector in Nigeria, and we are looking at dissecting the nitty-gritty of how we can move that sector forward. And of course, I have a stakeholder in this industry, Chief Barrister Chief, Sunday Oduntan. Many thanks for reconnecting with us. I understand the network is a bit erratic at your end. Can you hear me, sir? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sir. So, as I was saying earlier, I think I want to move on to the Minister of Power, which is the Adebayo Adelabu, that disclosed that Nigeria has secured a $2.2 billion solar PV deal with an American firm called Sun Africa to power Nigerian homes and offices with 961 megawatts of solar and about 455 megawatts of batteries. Do you think this deal like this, would amount to the larger scale of discussion that we've been having thus far?
Oh yes, fantastic. Anything that will bring more power to Nigeria, we should all applaud. For me, that is fantastic. I'm looking at it.
I cannot hear you, sir. Trendy.
Kike, can you hear me now?
I can hear you a bit now, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm saying that is fantastic. Any plan or anything that can increase power supply or bring about more electricity in Nigeria is a fantastic idea. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, before we go on a quick break, let me quickly ask you this, because I know that the distribution may not be the challenge of our power sector, but it's about the power that is not enough to go around effectively, if you ask me. That's my perception on this. But can't we be more critical, especially examining other sectors of power that are, sustainable for us, especially when it comes to the hydroelectric power? And we have been relying on this for decades. How do we move on or move forward away from all these challenges, that seems to become a culture?
I think you have said it all. We just need to do more incremental power supply. We need to generate power from other sources. But in doing that, we also need to consider the cost of doing so. Some sources are cheaper to do than others. So if we can work on like Mambila hydro power plants, that will bring a lot more into the sector and all other areas, solar and all others. So it's just a question of doing more. Our problem is not that we don't know what to do. We just need to know, we just need to get to doing those things and then look for the required resources to get it done. That's what we need to do.
Many thanks for that submission. We'll go on a quick break. and reestablish connection properly. And when I come back, the conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the issues surrounding the Nigerian power sector and, of course, exploring not just its challenges, but also the policies and the commitments the current administration, including the president and also the ministers for power or minister of power, will use to shape its future. And, of course, giving us real talk is Chief Barrister Sunday Oduntan, the executive director, of ANED, and of course is a spokesman for this school, and he has been giving us invaluable insights, even though his network has been a bit erratic, but he's been giving us a lot of insights into the pivotal aspects, of the nation's development. And I must say many thanks, because I know that he's actually at an event. He had to create time to actually lend his voice on this, But before I bring in my guests, let me quickly use this opportunity to open the phone lines that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77400, and of course it's showing on your screen right now. And of course we're also streaming live from Facebook and YouTube, both on Real Talk with Kike and Silverbird platform. So, sir, again, many thanks for all that you've shared thus far. Can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So, again, thank you so much. The president has said that he would investigate the legality of the 5-year license, extension given to privatized power in terms of distribution and generation companies, stressing that the operation licenses of the firm, would have expired on October 31st, 2023. What are your own comments, given the fact that you are a spokesperson for the discourse?
We are distributors, and that's what we know how to do best. That question is more for our regulator and for the government. So I really don't have any comment on that, Kike.
All right. So, but considering the proposal for a national council on power reforms, what benefits can such a council bring? And how might this, expedite the meaningful reforms in the sector and primarily contribute to the gap between the current capacity and the required 42,000 megawatts for effective power supply?
All I can say is that whatever we're doing, we just need to be mindful of the need for us to increase generation, transmission, and distribution. And to do that, we need to bring down the required investment, including the enabling environment, to ensure that we don't get back to the area of having huge fall in the sector. Once the sector is liquid and we have policies that will encourage investors or foreign direct investment, I think we'll be fine. So that is just the way forward. And I believe that the government and all stakeholders are aware of this. Nigeria just needs to be patient while all these things are going on, so that at the day we'll be able to achieve the power that we so desire.
Unfortunately, the network is a bit erratic. I think I will just go straight to trending right now, because this is a serious issue in our hands, and of course network is really messing up our conversation. Unfortunately, I might have to move on to the last segment of the show where we can talk about other issues. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of the Benin's that says that they are the owners of Lagos. This is a bit, it's a sensitive topic for me, especially Oba of Lagos. That's Oba Aruwani Akiolu, who clarifies, you know, all the controversies around this. But first, let me say that, you know, again, it's a very delicate issue and a very delicate history for me, because I like this trending topic because it opens the eye of everyone to history and how we should see it before someone else sees, or other parties or individuals change the narrative, or change the narrative for us. And I'm a Lagosian by blood, but my great-grandfather, you know, was buried at the roundabout of Mandela, so he's still buried there, and hence I'm a stakeholder. We should push forth the right narrative, if you ask me. I want to also endorse the rejoinder provided by Balogun of Eko, you know, that's Abisoye Oshodi, who also took the time to quickly, you know, clarify the Oba of Benin. Subsequently, guys, you know, this is to address other parties who lay claims to Lagos by virtue of civilization and evolution of, you know, settlers who consistently migrate from one region to the other. So there are many angles to this story, because when I was listening to a lot of perspective from different angles, I was smiling to myself, because the angles to this story, and everyone has a right to their own opinion. I must emphasize, everyone has a right to their own perspective. However, historians have agreed that the old geological region now called Lagos State had many settlers, from the Aworis, you know, to the Ijaws, the Benin people. It even has the old slave traders from Brazil, Portugal, and some parts of Europe from the 17th and 18th century. So the word Lagos is from Portuguese, if you ask me. It originated from Portuguese. And there is also a place called Lagos in Portugal. And the reason we have the Yoruba people in this part of the world, and the slave traders who had also, you know, who had these conjugal relations with the indigenous people at the time. Hence the reason we have some surnames like Grillos. I don't have cousins that are named Grillos, you know, the Perigrillos, the Cardozo, name it. Even after the slave traders, we have the colonial masters after the slave traders from the later 18th to early 19th, to the time of Lord Lugard till independence. Guys, I want to bring history to play in my submission. Yes, because the Benin people were also settlers in the geographical region called Eko at the time, which is a tiny fraction of what we call Lagos State today. The established tax systems, you know, but they didn't create the state or begin the state in whatever way. I must emphasize, they did not create or begin the state. Hence, they can not lay claim to a monarchy in Lagos State. In my head, I'm like, you are laying monarchy to Lagos State. There are two different constructs of arguments here, which are the ancestral settlers from Benin, and the second argument is the claim to monarch, which are different things entirely. This is a very crucial one for me. For the sake of history and posterity, clarity has to be made on this platform. Because when I look at this trend, I said no. But guys, let me control my emotions. In a nutshell, yes, the Benin people are among the settlers in Eko, but they do not belong to the monarchy or have any rights to the monarchy in the well-established state of today. I know what I'm saying. If it were so, maybe 18th century and 19th century settlers, and even some Nigerians that are settling in maybe remote areas of Canada and Europe, you know, they could also be claiming rights to their monarchy. So what are we talking about? Can we all please go and learn history? Can we all tell our grandparents, for those people who do not, you know, want to actually take time to read and learn history? I think that we need to sweep this, you know, we need to just come to fall and agree on the establishment of Lagos. Can we please? I'm trying to. I'm a Lagosian from Isale Kolombo in Gataiwo. What do you people mean? All right, guys, let's be serious right now. I think that's all that I will have to say right now on this trending until I see that new development. And definitely, you should hear from me because I will not let it slide. So on this note, let's move on quickly to the second trending story. And the second trending story that caught my attention also is President Tinubu that appoints, you know, NNPC Limited in terms of the board and management team. And again, this is also very sensitive to me because NNPC is part of my clientele under my corporate organization ZED. But let me quickly say this. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's decision to reappoint Malam Kyari as the group chief executive, you know, executive officer of the Nigerian Nation Petroleum Company Limited as NNPCL, you know, reflects for me a commitment to continuity in the nation oil sector. And thank God that we are even talking about power sector today, which is a bit related to what we are talking on this trending. So this move, you know, is part of the broader reshuffling that includes a new board, a new management team, effective from December 1st to December 1st, 2023, you know, and the signal does shows confidence in me, especially when it comes to Kyari's leadership, and meets all the expectations of a change after his 4-year tenure under the Buhari's administration. And Kyari's appointment again suggests that the current administration, you know, trusts his ability to navigate, you know, the challenges posed by the global oil economy and, of course, drive the NNPCL to greater heights. So the decision also, for me, also underlines, you know, the importance of stability, you know, and experience in overseeing the strategic and complex operation of the nation's petroleum company. And I also feel that the diverse and experienced individuals appointed to the NNPC board, such as Chief Pius Akiyelore as non-executive board chairman, and of course Alhaji Umaru Isa Ajaya, I hope I remember that or I pronounce that properly, as the chief financial officer, indicating a strategy approach to governance, especially when it comes to management. And Akiyelore's wealth of experience from the oil sector and beyond also adds depth to the leadership team, while Umar, you know, continued role as CFO underscores the significance of financial stability and, of course, the sound investments, you know, decision for NNPCL organization. I want to use this medium, this opportunity to say congratulations, you know, to the Akiyelores. One of their in-laws, Didi Akiyelore, is a friend, and of course, I know Toke Makiwa is also, that's the dad as well, and other members of the management team. And I want to say congratulations. I've learned that Mr. Akiyelore's active, you know, involvement and development of the sector since the Shell exploration era, and we have one Nigeria, not two Nigeria. And that's the reason why I feel that it's important for every administration that comes in to continue the legacy, the continuity of the other administration, because we do not have two Nigeria. So growth of the organization, because I see Nigeria as one. So the growth of the organization is as good as the growth of the country. So let's join hands together to support them. And I know that, you know, the things will get better and there will be success after this. I want to say many thanks to all those who are listening to me right now. Unfortunately, I think that the network is a bit erratic with my guests at the moment. So we'll go on a quick break, or let me end with a break. But my message today on this show is the fact that we need to come together as one. We need to come together as one to try and make sure that we join hands with other people, lend our voices on issues, on issues that affect us all, you know. I understand my guest is still there. Is he still there? All right, so you know, I just want to use this opportunity to just say that, you know, we need to continue to lend our voice. Indeed, it was an awesome show today, you know, in terms of all my resourceful guests, Mr. Chief Barrister Sunday Oduntan for all that he have shared, even though the network was a bit erratic. And I hope that we all can come together, like I said earlier, to move this country forward, especially when it comes to we taking ownership, to understand that we can't keep pointing fingers at the government, but we should also come together to say, what are the value can we add to your own community? Start from your community, and we start from your own community. Nigeria as a whole will become a better place. Let's go on a quick break and get a word from my sponsors. But remember to be kind to one another, and see you on Thursday. Let's watch a message. Let's listen to a message from my sponsor. Bye now. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Of course, my technical director have insisted that I must stay put and try to give more recap on the conversation at hand. And I'm wondering what better conversation what better recap can I do other than the fact that I need to emphasize on the stakeholder management and consultation with all the stakeholders, because I feel that the likes of Siemens and other private sector should be brought on board, you know, especially when it comes to assessing all the issues at hand, when it comes to measure of other honor of international bodies, knowing that we are trying to bring in international body to see how to better the power sector in the country. So stakeholder management and consultation is equally crucial at this period. And of course, considering the proposal for National Council as well when it comes to power reforms and the benefits, and of course in handling all the challenges at hand right now. So, you know, when we have stakeholder like this who is a spokesperson on behalf of the DISCO, I think it's important for us to also use the opportunity to actually bring in the Minister of Power to actually come and actually answer some of the questions that our guest today was saying that it's best for somebody in the government sector or the political sector to actually throw a lot of light on the question being asked. And I hope that, you know, all the stakeholders will eventually be brought in here to actually answer to us, because we all these things affect all of us. And unfortunately, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Can Moses please let me go and understand that I have given the best submission that I can give in terms of the effectiveness of power supply in this country, Nigeria. And everybody should understand that it's time for us to start paying premium, regardless of how much we want the power sector to be 24 hours. We have to pay for this premium. That's the only best way we can move forward, especially when it comes to this sector. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show, Moses. Till I come your way on Thursday, can I go in peace and go and do other things? Many thanks for staying with me. Bye now. This is Real Talk with Kike.